Okay, so, let's... Alright, I want to explain what I'm doing right now. Um, I am currently running the community goal that is the Pleiades Research Outpost, and it is a pretty typical weekly community goal on Elite Dangerous. It involves delivering certain kinds of commodities. They change from goal to goal to a particular station, and we can see here that the cargo that they want is lithium, semiconductors, and energy grid assemblies. And they're going to Campbell Horizons, which is a station in the Abroin system, or Abroin, I'm not sure how that's officially pronounced. And the way that a community goal like this works is that everyone playing contributes to the end goal together. And when they do that, as you see on the right-hand side, that uh, the tier of rewards basically increases as everyone contributes to the project. And also, individuals get a greater reward depending on their own participation compared to other players. So in this case, if I scroll all the way down, you can see that if you do anything for the goal whatsoever, so in this case, just delivering one single ton of um, any of the commodities requested, uh, that right off the bat will get you 500,000 credits. And once you're in the top 75% of contributors, that increases quite a lot, as you see here. And since I'm in the top 50%, I would, if the goal ended right now, I would get over 6.5 million credits. And you see that the time left on the goal is just under 2 days. And uh, that means that people can continue to contribute to the goal. So if you see on the right-hand side, we're now at tier 5. If we get up to tier 6, all of the rewards at each level change. They get higher. But it also means that if you just stop contributing, you can actually slide in the rankings, obviously. So right now I'm in the top 50%, but if I just didn't contribute anything further, I could slide back into the top 75%. So you need to keep that in mind before you count your chickens before they're hatched and assume what your goal is going to be. Okay, so I think that's all to say about this. And I've delivered a total of 1,327 tons of these lithium semiconductors and energy grid assemblies. So right now I'm going to actually return to Campbell Horizons, which is the home station for this goal. Right now I'm on a planetary uh, outpost, as you can see. And I got here because I was doing a side mission. And I'm going to look at my inventory really quickly. I have silver and I have insulating membrane. And those are both for of the uh, some of the missions that I've collected along the way. And the missions are found in the transactions tab here, which is where I was just looking at that um, at this Pleiades research outpost goal. And I can see all of my contracts, and you'll see that there's quite a lot of them. And I'll talk about why that is in a little bit. But you see that one of them is industry needs 18 units of silver, and uh, that was originally going to go to Campbell Horizons, but I got a message in my comms asking me to deliver it elsewhere. And you'll see here that on the left where it says rewards that I originally accepted that silver mission or the delivering silver mission for a potential reward of just under 200,000 credits. But by accepting the request to divert it from Campbell Horizons to the Gallon refinery, uh, I will get another 90,000 credits, which is a nice little increase. So, I am now going to um, look at my cargo again. Um, I have 4 units of insulating membrane. The reason for that will become clear if you keep watching. It's it's a somewhat rare commodity, and there are some commodities that a station produces very slowly. So, and there's low supply and high demand, basically, and that means that you can only get a few units from the station as every time you dock. And so if you want to make a goal, such as, oh, am I done with the, I am now done with the insulating membrane missions. I had a few of them. But once I got up to the number required, then I could complete them. And so, um, I might want to go straight back home to Campbell Horizons at this point, or I might want to take a look at this silver mission, and I want to see whether that's close or on my way. So I'm going to open Galaxy Map, and that takes a moment. And once I do that, I can see here that uh, this system, HIP 67109, is it's not far from Abroin. I think that's how I'll pronounce it, which is where the community goal. You can see from the yellow star. That's what that means. It's not far away from that at all. Uh, to explain the other little icons, the blue one above. So right here where my cursor is, above you see an orange globe that indicates that I have a goal in this system. And above that, the bookmark indicates that I have a bookmark, which is just what you find in this tab here. And off of in Abruin, uh, you also see the uh, yellow star, which means that this is a community goal. There's still also the project or mission related thing at Abruin, and the top one, that's also a bookmark icon, but it's saying that the bookmark is not to Abruin, but to something inside Abruin. And in this case, it is this Campbell Horizons outpost, Campbell Horizons is a station. Okay, so I'm going to go into HIP 6709, and I can see that from the overlay right here, I can see that it's 10.66 light years away, which is well within the range of my jump drive. So I want to take a quick look at the system map. And the reason is because I want to see how long it's going to take me to get to this destination. Now, the first thing that you look at is um, in the overlay here it says arrival point 155.81 light seconds. And that's actually that's very close. That will take you very little time, maybe a minute or two once you get good at docking. If that were a an outpost or a orbiting space station. But it is a planetary landing, which adds some time. But if we look at, for instance, this moon of the outermost gas giant here in the same system, its arrival point is 2,517 light seconds, which is quite a lot farther away, and getting there would probably take you 5 or 6 minutes. So it's something to keep in mind when you're deciding whether or not to accept a mission, because you don't want to waste time on things. And because it's not, uh, because the mission is actually on the planet, and you can see landable planets are the ones with this blue arc around them. Planets with the blue arc, and I guess those are buildings that indicates that there's settlements on the planet as well. And here again, you see the bookmark with the little down pointer, meaning that the thing that we're interested in is actually inside or in the planet. So if I just zoom in here, I can see that I am going to the Gallon refinery, which is at this point in on the planet. You know, I can just rotate around and take a look at where it is. And so I can see here that it's in the northern hemisphere on the daylight side. Um, and I can plot a route all the way to the Gallon refinery. And that will let me not have to keep on going into my nav computer as I'm going on. So let's get out of this, and I'm going to leave. Well, let me just show you overall what's happening here. So I am currently at this system in the upper left, tip 69767. Um, the Abroin, where the goal is located, is on the way, basically, but I'm going to just go right past it, and then I'm going to come back. Alright, so I just want to double check very quickly, something I do before I take off. I just make sure that I'm doing the right thing, that I haven't forgotten anything. Yes, I'm going to the Gallon Refinery, and I check navigation, and it shows that on the left-hand bar it shows route, and my destination is set correctly, and it says I have one jump. That sounds good. I'm going to check my cargo again to be sure that, you know, it's pretty embarrassing when you make a long trip and you get to the final destination and you realize that you never actually loaded up on the cargo that you'd intended to bring. So it's a good thing to check in the last minute. And then I want to check my fuel. And I can see in the lower right-hand side in the HUD there, where it says fuel, the bar is about half full, and that's a good thing. That means that that's plenty for this particular trip. Now, you can't actually even see it here, most likely, but there's a tiny, tiny little bit of blue on the right-hand side of that fuel bar, and that indicates how much fuel will be taken up by the jump. So if you notice that you're low on fuel, this would be the last time, right before you leave, to make sure that you fix that by going into Starport Services and refueling. And you can refuel all, which is, you know, very easy. It's just one click. But you get better distance if you don't need, if you're not taking a full, you know, long trip. You get better speed because, I'm sorry, not speed. You get better distance on your frameshift drive if you have less weight. And one of the things that factors into your weight is fuel. So running a full fuel tank, topping up at every single station, isn't necessarily the most efficient thing to do. And so I'm going to go into the fuel store, and here I can refuel in just smaller increments. And so I can go from 56, if I hit it, I could go up to 66, like that. And I see that I have some dings here and there to my ship. None of them are a big deal, but I might as well just fix them all right now. And so we'll do that. Paint work doesn't get fixed unless you uh, specifically request it like this, because it's not really necessary. It's just if you want your, pictures to look pretty. Um, Now, I'm gonna check my content, make sure that the stream is working correctly at this point, because I haven't had a chance. I haven't had a chance to look. Bear with me just a moment while I check, give you something a little bit more interesting to look at. And I'm going to just check this out, and we'll be off in just a moment. Okay, so I am okay, so I am ready to take off now. I had just wanted to do a quick check of the stream to be sure that it was working correctly. And it looks like this. So, here we go. Alright, so to launch from a planet, I assume that you've probably done this before, but just since this is about how to do things efficiently, I hit launch. I immediately go press up on the thrusters, I nose up, I increase my acceleration to max, I drop my landing gear, and I can see that from the hollow dot in my ball compass that I won't be able to jump directly without getting out of this planet's orbit. So I have to hold down the triangle button and do just a regular hyperspace jump. I'm sorry, hold down the triangle button and do a super cruise, pointing at the escape vector, because you can't jump through a planet. You can't jump to something that you can't see directly. So I have to get high enough out of the planet's surface to be able to see where I'm going. And if I tilt to look way up over my canopy, I see that it's way over on the other side of the planet. So I'm going to just start tilting over there, I'll flip over so that it's a little more natural of a view, but okay, so now I'm getting enough speed where I can go ahead and make my jump. Well, it's not the speed, it's the being able to see the destination. As soon as I get into the system, I'm going to push my stick because I don't want to overheat by going too close to the sun. And then I use my compass to find my destination point. And having found it, I now just head for it. And I take a look at contacts every now and then just to see if trouble might be coming, but looks good at this point. And once you're accelerating, especially in a cargo ship that can make these kind of routes, you don't generally get jumped at the until you start decelerating, which I am now doing. And you'll notice that ETA is 6 seconds. That's okay. You basically don't want to go below 5 seconds. Even getting to 5 seconds is a problem, because if your ETA is 5 seconds or less, you won't be able to slow down fast enough, and you'll overshoot. And so here I can see the dotted line means that Gallon Refinery is on the other side of the planet, so I'm going to just kind of skim the surface until it comes over the horizon. I could increase my speed a bit now. And I've now entered into where it's showing me the planetary HUD. Generally what I want to do is I want to drop out of Syracuse, which is the DRP, in that elevator on the right, when the destination is about 100 kilometers away. And looks like I am doing that okay. May exit a little early. Not used to talking about this while I do it, so okay. Alright, so and I'm about to go into orbital glide. Well, at some point I should drop and go to orbital glide, maybe. There we go. That sound revving up of the engines told me that I was. And now I'm just going to glide into the final location. And the gravity on this planet is, I can't actually read it, but it's pretty high. It's 3/4 Earth's gravity, which means I need to be careful. I'm not going to survive any bumps. Certainly hitting the planet in any way would kill me, so I want to be careful. And now I'm just going to request docking. and
Request approved. Make your way to landing pad
I can
07.
see that it's this landing pad. I can't actually tell yet. Is it the one way over there? Yes, it's the one at the far side. I'm using my ball compass to tell that. And
Restrict speed to 100.
And I'm kind of pointed the wrong direction. Those blast, I think they're supposed to be blast protectors with the yellow triangles. That's the back. So I'm going to need to turn around. And on a high gravity planet like this, I'm going to change my landing gear as well. You need to be careful because so you want to probably take this very slow your first few tries, and I nearly had an accident myself there by pushing down on my thrusters a little too hard. And I just want to get aimed vaguely at the get a little lower, and I need to get up in the crosshairs here, and I may be pointed a little bit off too much. Nope. Okay. Whenever I land, I immediately enter hangar and hit starport services, just because that lets two kinds of, loading and waiting happen at once. And now I'm going to go to the mission board, which is the whole reason that I'm headed here, and I'm going to turn in that silver. Remember, the silver was in my inventory, and so I'm just going to claim reward. And nice little reward of 287,000 credits. So now, this is not a system that I have a great deal of interest in. It's not on my trading route, and I'll talk about that when we get back to Campbell Horizons. So I'm going to take a look at the mission board, but I'm going to be looking for only really, really tempting missions. I'm not going to go for missions that don't really have a good payout and don't require me to go too far out of my way. And so I'm looking for, pretty much triple-digit rewards, except for data delivery missions to a place that I'm planning on going anyway. If there are any of those, I'll just take them because those don't take up any room in your cargo, and they're pretty easy. But there are none of those. So, and the other thing to notice is this little, you notice that all four of these have a sunrise symbol. That means that they're all planetary, which take longer, and, well, we're on a planet right now, so that may be the reason that these are all planetary missions. So none of these look good. So I'm not going to take any of them. Instead, I am going to, ordinarily, since my cargo hold is almost empty, you see at the bottom I've got only 8 tons out of 120 used, so I could put quite a bit of cargo in, but this station has no commodities board. It has no market. So I'm going to return to the surface because that way I can wait for this animation and getting back to the surface to happen while I take care of plotting my route back. And so I hit Galaxy Map, And from Galaxy Map, I will just quickly, Campbell Horizons is where I'm going. So select it from the bookmark, plot the route. Now I exit the Galaxy Map. I can see it's one jump. And I can see that I've got enough fuel, so one more quick glance at the inventory. I got telemetry suite as part of the reward, which is I just need to sell at some point. I mean, if I were working on one of the engineers, um, which I'm not going to really talk about now, I might hold on to these things because these are the things that the engineers tend to be interested in. But as is, I'm going to sell these as quickly as possible just to free up space in my cargo hold. So once again, same as last time. I launch, vertical thrust,
Attach sequence complete. You are clear to depart.
nose up, full power to throttle, retract the landing gear, and then I boost because I just get enough speed so that I can
Speed restriction
get
lifted.
into
Safe journey, Commander.
Super Cruise.
Frameshift drive charged.
And have to align with straight up, basically. And now I'm looking for my destination. It is now visible, so I can, as soon as I clear mass lock, which I'm looking for lower, there I go. I can hit triangle, and I'm not pointing at it yet because I want to get some more distance from the planet just to be on the safe side. And now I point at my target. So you'll see returning to standard flight controls up there. By default, that's what happens when you press down on the left stick on PS4. And what that does is change the behavior of the right stick, kind of confusingly, so that pushing right and left on the right stick causes you to yaw rather than use thrusters, which don't work in Super Cruise anyway. Excuse me. So, Campbell Horizons, I'm again going to drop at 7 seconds my throttle. You notice when I hold down triangle that I actually have a set speed to 75% bound. That's not done by default, but 75% is what you want your throttle to be at for making these kind of approaches. And the doorway, or mail slot as people say, to these Coriolis stations always points at the planet. So I'm going to go between the planet and the station here and make an attempt to get down to my drop speed and position while I am facing it. And it looks like I didn't do that. So I'm going to make another try at it. And that was not a stellar performance there. Usually I'm pretty good at pulling out screws right at the point where I got the entrance ahead of me. I think it takes a little bit more concentration.
Please head directly for Bay 3-5.
The screen because this I'm friendly with this station basically has arrows showing me where the doorway will be, and I can look over. There it is. So. So the way I look, by the way, is you press the right stick in, and then you can actually move the entire DualShock controller. And at this point, I want my throttle to be in the blue so that I have the greatest maneuverability. You see I'm going at 85 meters per second. I can go up to 100. But if I go over that, they yell at you, and if you hit anything, you can pay a substantial fine. So you want to stay under 100 unless you're making a speed run or you have some bonus that means that you want to get into the station especially fast because it's risky otherwise. And here we go. I'm looking for landing pad number 35, so as I go in, I am scanning around for 35. There is in the lower left, so I'm going to go straight down, and I just shaved again. Talking is surprisingly
It is
confusing.
forbidden to loiter in this area. Vacate immediately.
It's surprising how many mistakes I make just because I'm trying to describe what I'm doing, because you kind of get finger memory. But luckily I did not do the thing you definitely do never want to do inside of a station, which is boost. Luckily I did not do that. And so now I'm just going to...
Caution, deploy landing gear.
My landing gear never went down, that's why I was going so quickly. I tried to. Okay. And again, I quickly just hit hanger and start pushing one after another. And I check my mission board for anything to hand in. I don't think there's anything to hand in this case. But in a usual case, I'd be coming into this station with a cargo hold full of one of the community goal commodities. But since right now my cargo hold is nearly empty, I can look at the mission board now. So the scrolling works a little strangely. When you move into the sidebar, you have to sometimes scroll down and back up in order to see everything. But just starting from the bottom here, this I'm not interested in because Kawamu Yi is not in my route. This I am not interested in because I know that animal meat is not a commodity that I can find on my normal route. This one could be interesting because consumer technology is on my route, and it's only requiring 2 units, and the price of a unit at the station that I stop in for consumer technology is it's like about 6,000 credits a ton. So that means that the effective reward for this mission, if I took it, would be 32,000 minus 12,000. So 20,000 for 2 units. That's kind of. Um, I generally will take a any convenient mission that is 10,000 credits per ton of cargo space or more. So I'm going to accept that one. Now, delivery ones are interesting because you don't have to pay for the food. In this case, it says you want to deliver 36 units. Um, you don't have to buy those. When the icon is like this with the bidirectional arrows, you have to go find the animal meat, purchase it with your own money, and bring it back for the reward. Here, where it just shows a rightward arrow from a cargo cylinder, that means that they're going to provide, as soon as you accepted this mission, if you did, it would immediately put 36 units of food cartridges into your hold, and you just go deliver them for the reward. So they can be, they're effectively zero costs in terms of credits. So sometimes you want to look at those. And that's a pretty lucrative one, but again, Kwamu Yi is not in my path. I look at the galaxy map. I'll show you what I am talking about. Okay, so Kwamugi is about 12 light years away, which is quite close. And you see that two parts. So I have a triangle route going, and that's generally the most efficient way to do trades. Just going back and forth between two stations. You don't make much money because that those stations generally have. Um, they don't have as lucrative a set of buy and sale options. So, you may make more money in one way, but you'll make very little to nothing going the other way. So, if you set up multi-hops, with 3 being a triangle, you can actually make every leg profitable. And that's what I've done. You can make it 4 hops or 5 hops. Um, but a 3-hop is, kind of a classic trading triangle, and it's best for this sort of uh, case where I'm trying to overlay trading with the community goal, because I want to hit that community goal here in Abroan as often as, oops, that's not Abroan, but wherever, it's here somewhere. Uh, I want to hit a Broen as often as I can. So for that reason, my trading route is just a triangle, because that way every 3 stops I'm back in the Broen and I'm contributing to the community goal. The the leg that I take from a Broen is off in the distance there. It's on Kala, and I've got to go down in the map a bit, and there's Angala. You can see it's farther away. It's about 33 light years, and to put it in perspective, I'll just tilt the map here until you see there. Okay, so that's a good look. The 3 orange globes are the 3 parts of my triangle route. And so I go from Abroan to here in Onkala, and then in, I don't actually have Onkala selected, there we go. And in Onkala, I then pick up stuff to take. Let me just show you the system map for Onkala really quickly, just to show you where I go in Onkala. I go to a station that is called Lukyanenko Orbital, and Lukanyenko Orbital is it's a high-tech station, so I can get things like that consumer technology. Um, and high tech is a good thing for the next leg, which, as you'll see in a second, is a Dumbo. A Dumo is a refining extract. You can see on the left, it's a colony and extraction economy. And high tech is a good sourcing station when you're selling to refining or high tech. I'm sorry, when you're selling to refining from high tech. And if I just show you the system map for Adumbo, um, the Bridges Outpost is where I generally go. Now I had been going to both the Bridges Outpost and to the Porsche Beacon. They have nearly identical markets. Bridges Outpost is a bit cheaper and everything, so that's why I've selected it. It's also closer to the sun, so that means I get to it quicker when I jump in. Um, but when I was trying to collect insulating membranes, which were one of those kind of rarer commodities that you can't get your fill of every time, I think I could only get 3 units every time I visited. Um, I needed to try to get them as quickly as possible, so I would go to both stations and pick up 3 units of insulating membranes in each of them. Okay, so um, that said, I go from the industrial station of Campbell Horizons, which is where I am now. Um, my first leg is to Lukyanenko Orbital, which is a high-tech station. And from there I go here to the Bridges Outpost, which is a refining station. And then, being a refining station, it has lithium, which is one of the things that is wanted in the community goal. So I pick up lithium here at Bridges Outpost, and I complete my route over to Abroin. Okay, so that's an overview of uh, what I'm doing, and this was all by way of asking the question: does it make sense to add a Kawamu Yi leg to my route? Now I haven't been there, so I don't know what their markets are like. And I could, if I were playing by myself and didn't have to put viewers on hold, I would go to the website eddb.io. That's eddb.io. Elite Dangerous Database.io, which would let me find out exactly what commodities are available in Kawamu Yi. It would let me see if I could make a profitable trading circuit that included a bro in Kawamu Yi and Ndumbo or not. Um, and given that it's a lot closer than Ankala, if I weren't streaming at this moment, I probably would actually check that because that'd be interesting. That I'd be able to make the route faster. But I'm not going to do that. Um, and apologies for that. My mic went dead for a second. I had to rejigger. Okay, so um, my point is that Kwame Yi is not something that I want to visit. So I'm not going to take this. Now, that said, if I scroll down, I see that it's got a full day on it. It has a fine on failure, but it's a small fine. I mean, in the scheme of things, it's a small fine of 4,000 credits. And as I just said, Kwamuyi might be a way to make my route shorter, which would let me hit Campbell Horizons more frequently with the cargo for the community goal. So, I think I will accept it just because it will give me a chance to see Kwamuyi. Okay? So that's kind of my philosophy here, is that I uh, I don't have a single-minded focus on the community goal, because that's honestly just because that's boring. I want to do other things. Did I accept the wrong thing? Or did it just give me a second mission that was just like... Because... if I was talking and I accepted... Nope, there we go, 36 food cart. Oh, that's going to more dock at Kwamuyi, and this one is going to uh, Shaoguan Landing at Kwamuyi. So they are actually two separate missions. And I'm going to take a quick look to see the distances we're talking about. That was the other thing that I should have done, because it sucks when you accept a mission that is far, 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 far away and takes, 20 or 30 minutes in real life time to get there. But no, Shaoguan Landing is very close. I can use the right-hand tab here to check all of the places that I have in my nav banks, and the Mordock is also fairly close. It's under 1,000 light seconds. So that was the one I accepted. That's good. This one is even better. It's closer. Does it pay a bit more? Yes. It's pretty close. It pays a little less, actually. 36 units versus 30. No, it's both 36, so it pays quite a bit less. I don't honestly remember how much food cartridges... right, this is a delivery mission, so I don't have to pay for them. So... the question here, though, is that, as you can see, I'm filling up my cargo hold, but, I'm going to go to this Kwamuyi system anyway, and it's just for a look-see, to see what the system's like and what the stations are like, so might as well make as much money as I can now that I've decided to go there. So that's my picking process. I'm going to quickly check the rest of the folks, factions, parties, whatever you call them, who are offering missions here, to see if any other pique my interest. Not so far. These are low paying. This is a high paying one. It is a delivery mission to a station that it's a station I've been to, but it's not on my path for anything else. So I'm not going to accept it quite yet. I may come back to it. This doesn't look good. There's no grain to be had really nearby this station. I've checked. So don't care for that. And This would be a really interesting mission, except you see how far away it is. It says it's going to Tilion, which is 125 light years. So uh, that's why it's the big bucks in this case. Um, okay, so having decided that I am going to take these food cartridges to Kwamuyi, the next thing that I want to do is I want to go in the commodities market. I want to check the insulating membrane and I'm going to sell this just so that I get it out of my hold now, because I don't have any more missions involving insulating membrane. And then that other reward was a telemetry suite. It looks like, you see it says consumed by high tech and military. So I'll leave that in my hold for now, and because it might be a good thing to sell in Kawamuyi. So I'm going to stop the stream now because this is a good stopping point where I've just set things up, and I'll come back in a few minutes and we'll talk about what happens next. The one thing that I always do before quitting the game is, when I'm doing this mission stacking, as it's called, I have a lot of missions here, is I check to see when the most pressing one ends. And it looks like I've got one in 8 hours. And that's in Lukyanenko Orbital, which is along my path, and that's fine. And then the one after that is Indium, back here to Campbell Horizons. And the rest of these I could do tomorrow because yeah, they're not due until quite a long time from now. So, I'm going to drop off at this point, and I will come back after I've had a bit of a break, and I'll also offline go on addb.io. I can't show you a browser on PS4 streaming, unfortunately. Um, so you might want to do the same thing and just take a look at what possible routes I could make with Campbell Horizons, getting one of the 3 required lithium semiconductors or energy grid assemblies. See what sort of path I might make involving Kuamayi, and I will do that, and then I will come back online. Thank you for listening.